Two forums about knowing your rights will take place Friday and Saturday, February 26th and 27th. These are for young people and for adults. The forums are organized by the Massachusetts Black Lawyers Association with collaboration from the Boston Police and community partners. To tell us what's being planned is our guest from the association, Secretary Shereice Perry. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
This is the second year you've done this, Shereice. Talk about what got these forums started.
I think the Mass Black Lawyers Association, we focus on trying to improve and, cultivate relationships for attorneys. And we also have a kind of community service component. And so a lot of what one of the committees does is to focus on community involvement, whether it's the Martin Luther King Day of Service, whether it's during Kwanzaa time and having some of the donations, MBLA reads, and so we really try to make sure that we're also part of the community as well as to support attorneys of color. And so what we decided this year is to have a forum in the community, particularly Boston community, and to focus on the needs of the community and bring lawyers and other organizations and partnerships together to kind of address those issues, have a forum, give people the legal information they need to access resources, and to also just kind of be a voice for the people. And particularly for young people to see lawyers and police officers and other people in organizations that they could look up to. There may be some mentoring that comes out of it, but really to just create a positive space for people.
One thing you can say about almost any community, a lot of us, we learn about the law through hearsay and we get it wrong. So I guess talk about some of the issues where you can maybe clear up some misconceptions.
I mean, what's in my legal work that I do is I work for the trial court, and a lot of times we see people at the time of crisis where something has happened in their life and they have to come to the court. What we're trying to do in these forums is to kind of be preventative and be proactive and say, before there are any issues regarding youth and police interactions, let's talk about what your rights are when you're stopped and you're walking down the street, or you're stopped when you're in a car, and to better equip people with that knowledge, and so that they can have a different interaction with the police. Or if they're having a landlord-tenant situation and they're being evicted, or they're trying to evict a tenant, to really give them that information before it gets to the point where you have to come to court, so that people can do and have a positive interaction with the court, and they know what they're doing as they go through the court system.
Now, I know in your law practice you deal with family law, and you could have families that have visitation rights, and they might have concerns. They might be afraid to sort of rock the boat legally, and yet there may be some danger in the family. Can they learn about ways to confront that and maybe deal with it?
Right, so for the Know Your Rights program this year, with the focus on landlord-tenant and police interactions, what we're really trying to do is give landlords and tenants the information that they need to know about what that process is, but also give people resources. And so the resource sheet that we're going to give to the participants is information regarding all legal services. And so there's going to be information about domestic violence and what are different legal services organizations and different helplines and different phone numbers, as well as websites. And so there are a variety of websites that many people don't know about that have simple English information, as well as information that can be translated into other languages, so that people can walk away not only just knowing about landlord-tenant, but also having information that they can go back to and say, I have a family law situation, or I have a custody situation. Greater Boston Legal Services is a number that I could call, or Casa Myrna is a number that I can call. Knowing that there's after hours phone service. So many people don't actually know that when the court's closed, there are judges that go on call, and they respond to the search warrants, but a majority of the calls that they respond to are domestic violence. And so having people know that they can call or walk into a police station at 12 o'clock and they'll get access to a judge, and if a restraining order is granted, they'll be able to get it at that time.
What about stops by police?
Stops by police is a huge topic now, as well as the body cam discussion. And so what we want people to know is what your rights are if you are stopped by a police officer. What you can do, what if something goes wrong, how to kind of have that dialogue with an officer, what information you should request from an officer if you feel that you've been mistreated, as well as what are organizations that you can call or contact, such as the ACLU or the NAACP or Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights. And so what we have on that day are people from those organizations that are going to be there to kind of talk about the nitty-gritty of that information and really not so much talk to people, because there's a portion of, you do talk about what your rights are and, how do you seal a record and different things like that. But really to kind of have the dialogue of letting the people ask the questions. What if this situation happened? What if this situation happened? What should I be asking of an officer? Was it right for him to stop me? But also having the police there. And so to have a positive interaction with police officers and say, there are really good cops out there. Sometimes there are bad apples, but I think the police department has been really transparent. They've talked about a pilot program for body cams, but this is an opportunity for people to know what a body cam is. Not that it's actually been implemented, but that body cams may be coming to Boston, and this is what a body cam is, but also what are the legal ramifications of an officer wearing a body cam in your home? Because we don't think about what those privacy issues are. What if something's captured on a camera? And so really being able to kind of dig down and have people ask questions that they need answered.
I know lawyers need to network for business, but it sounds to me, if you go to an event like this, you learn things. You really pick up some things.
Right, and this isn't, for me, this isn't, and for the MBLA, this isn't a place where, we're trying to advertise, we're trying to get business. This is a place for people in all of these organizations that really care about the community to come and to talk about and really give people information. And I think sometimes it's hard I think the youth program has been really great, and it's really good for parents, and they drop off their children for 3 hours and they can come back and, the kids leave. I think the hardest part is really to get adults really willing to sit through, a 3-hour session and want to, because again, I think people respond to legal issues in crisis, not so much to gain the information beforehand. So we're really hoping that we can get a lot of adults to come out this year.
Explain how things are going to be broken down, because you have the evening forum on a week from Friday for young people. What are the main topics you're going to be looking at with that?
So what we do with the youth forum is we start off with just registration and dinner. And so usually there's pizza, something easy for the kids. And so, people will come in between 5:30 and 6 to get food, to get registered, make sure we're keeping track of who's there. And then we start right at 6 o'clock. And so we'll have opening remarks, and then we immediately go into role plays. And the role plays are done with the police officers as well as the young people. And so we really want to get them involved in kind of what's going on. And so we've had scenarios that we've drafted. We'll go right into role play, and we go right into breakout sessions, because now we want to talk about how did you feel about these role plays? Kind of what did it make you feel? Do you think it was right? Do you think it was wrong? What is a better way to address it? And so we have retired judges, lawyers of color, all there to kind of facilitate these conversations. Then we have a break, and then there'll be a report back. And so the report back goes directly to the panel, because now the panel knows these are the issues that the young people need answers to. These are the issues that have come up, and that can really guide their conversation. And then it's question and answers, and then it's over.
And I guess more of the same on the Saturday morning for the adults, with a different
Correct.
Mix of topics, perhaps?
Right, and so the topics for the youth are, stop and frisk and police interactions, as well as cyberbullying, and that's become an issue with social media, with texting, and so really to talk about what it means, but also to have youth understand that, what you say on social media can affect you in the future, and to be cognizant of the things that we say on social media, as well as unhealthy relationships, because domestic violence does happen with young people as well.
So we should talk about the times. The youth forum is going to be Friday the 26th. At what time are we talking?
5:30.
And the adult forum on Saturday?
Is 10 o'clock. And so the Saturday program is a little bit different. If you'd like me to talk about that.
Yes, please.
Sure. So Saturday, we're starting right at 10. There'll be refreshments at the beginning, and we get right into open remarks and the scenarios. And, the scenarios are going to be focused on landlord-tenant. So what we've done with the adults is to split up the programs. So landlord-tenant is going to start with the 2 attorney panelists that will be there, and they'll talk about from the landlord side as well as the tenant side, and then there'll be an opportunity for questions then. And then we'll break into scenarios for the second level of topics, which all kind of intertwine, which are stop and frisk, police interactions, and the body cams. And that panel will include approximately 5 panelists that are all well versed in the laws that are affecting that. There'll be role plays with that as well, breakouts, and then again, it'll end with a report back and a closeout.
It's going to be February 26th and 27th. Locations at Lena Park Community Development Center on
Correct.
American Legion Highway, 150
Yes.
American Legion.
Absolutely.
Great.
And there is parking. So sometimes, people always ask about parking. So I believe there's street parking, but there's also on-site parking lot parking.
Very important. Thank you for mentioning that. Shereice Perry,